Welcome to the podcast. I'm Rabbi Josh. What was the artistic world that the Jews left behind with Yetziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus from Egypt? Beginning Wednesday night, we will recall through the Haggadah the moral degradation, the brutality, the theology, the vision of holiness and justice that's part of our story. But what is the artistic perspective on the Exodus? Let's start here. Have you ever noticed that Egyptian statues are missing noses or ears or lips? Just Google ancient Egyptian statues and you can see for yourself. It's true, anything ancient in any culture is likely to be in pretty bad shape. We can find ancient Greek or Mayan statues with fractures and missing pieces. But it is especially prevalent in Egyptian statues because in addition to damage caused by the merciless hand of time or the brutality of conquerors or the carelessness and callousness of those who happen upon these ancient artifacts, ancient Egyptian statues had one more enemy to contend with: ancient Egyptians. It turns out that statues were deliberately defaced for what would have been considered practical reasons. Statues, reliefs, and inscribed names were understood as real sites of presence and efficacy. They could carry spiritual force, they could sustain memory, extend a person's agency after death, and help secure political and religious legitimacy. So, breaking noses, erasing names, defacing faces, or altering inscriptions was not random vandalism, but an attempt to disable an image's power or sever its ability to act upon the world. What we call art was something much more than that to the ancient Egyptians. These cultural products were effective enactments of power. While any particular deceased individual may have fallen victim to an iconoclastic enemy who wanted to limit his or her ability to effectuate power after death, the larger point is this: artistic creativity was employed to reinforce and reify the power of pharaohs to ensure the social hierarchies of that time persisted and to demonstrate the eternality of the power structure of Egyptian society. Art not only served power, it made power effective. It actively protected what the Egyptians called ma'at, harmony and order. But of course, the order that had Pharaoh at the top of its social hierarchy was one founded upon brutality and powerlessness. Egyptian civilization, especially in its monumental art, projects stability, hierarchy, continuity, divide kingship, and the suppression of chaos. This is exactly the kind of world the Exodus disrupts. Pharaoh appears absolute. Egypt appears permanent. The Nile world appears self-sustaining. And the plagues in this show that this Then the plagues and the splitting of the sea show that this order is not ultimate at all. The Exodus is a demolition of Egypt's claim to cosmic finality and inevitability. Egyptian religion and kingship are saturated with image, monument, and visual permanence. At Sinai, Israel heard a voice, but saw no form. Egypt represents a civilization in which divinity is stabilized through visible form, while Torah redirects Israel towards speech, covenant, command, and memory rather than image. In Egypt, Pharaoh's word is what is. His order looks natural and unchallengeable, but the Torah repeatedly insists that God overturns the strong, hears the slave, and breaks imperial inevitability. Egyptian visual culture is part of the ideological machinery that naturalizes this domination. Monumental art says this order is eternal, and Exodus says no, it's contingent, judged, breakable, and passing. And there's another layer connected to the Jews' conscription into the process of making in service of power. Egypt conscripts Israel into store city building, the making of bricks. Later in the wilderness, Israel builds again, this time the Mishkan. But Egyptian building serves state power and coerced permanence. The Mishkan, the tabernacle making, serves divine presence under covenantal instruction. Both involve materials, craft, precious metals, textiles, and a highly structured process of making, but the theological direction is different. One serves the world of a very flawed leader, Pharaoh. The other serves a God who liberated slaves. So I want to be clear, at Art Lab, we're not interested in prescribing what art should be or what it should do or assigning to it any ideological purpose. Art Lab artists come from a very wide array of Jewish backgrounds and expressions. And the work these artists create may be explicitly Jewish in content, but perhaps is most often not. It is the work of Jewish individuals and Jewish artistic community, and it is quite open-ended. Maybe, though, what this brief perspective on art and Exodus highlights is the power of a Jewish cultural project to come together and to explore the power of Jewish community to bring us into dialogue about what Jewish looks like now, and significantly, to celebrate the power of art to call into question what is, and therefore to open doors to what might be. There's another way of looking at the Exodus using an artistic lens that I want to offer here that's quite distinct. And that is to view the entire Jewish religious project as a work of art. I'm not just trying to be provocative or obtuse here. The truth is that it's pretty clear from the archaeological record that the Exodus story did not happen as it is told in the Torah. Scale, scope, purpose, meaning, all of those things have thus far escaped the view, at least, of the historical record. And in truth, there's not a lot of evidence that it happened at all, that the Exodus happened at all. While some people may find that claim unacceptable and others dispiriting or disillusioning, I think it's beautiful, because it would mean that a magnificent work of art, or rather a web of artistic works, in the form of storytelling, is the true core of what it means to be Jewish. What if the book of Exodus is simply a magnificent, created story that is the work of human beings? That's how I view the book of Exodus. The Torah's myths, and I personally am totally comfortable calling them that, are works of art that form the very heart of our people. These artistic works illuminate the deepest truths of our humanity, raise the most fundamental questions of human existence, challenge us, and raise questions about the purpose and meaning of our lives. They are crowning achievements, not only of Jewish culture, but of human culture. This view, which I know not everyone listening will accept, raises profound questions about not only the meaning of the story we are about to celebrate on Wednesday night, but also about the value of creativity and its role in the Jewish future. I want to be clear, it is not the case that every Jewish artist who has appeared on this podcast, not to mention every Art Lab artist, would endorse the view that I'm proposing here, although some would. But I believe that this view that places human creativity at the very center of the Jewish project can be a source of deepening Jewish commitment and engagement, and can be an essential part of the enduring Jewish commitment to see through the world as it is and to imagine some other world of beauty that we have not yet made. I want to wish you a good Passover and thank you for listening. Thanks so much.